presents a world premiere. A world premiere. A world premiere.
Tonight with a look back at a shameful chapter in American history and a book that helped guide African Americans through it safely.
Victor Hugo Green, born November the 9th, 1892, was an African American postal employee from Harlem, New York City. In the 1930s, as a travel writer, he began traveling the New York area collecting data on stores, motels, and gas stations that would welcome black travelers. In 1936, he published his first guidebook entitled The Negro Travelers Green Book. The book was published from 1936 to 1966. Mr. Green would review hotels and restaurants that did business with African Americans during the time of Jim Crow laws and racial segregation in the United States. Mr. Green printed 15,000 copies each year to accommodate the African American family abroad. Once he retired from the postal office in 1947, he also developed travel agencies. Mr. Green created the publishing office in Harlem to support his guide. In 1947, he established a vacation reservation service, a travel agency to book reservations at black-owned establishments. By 1949, the guide included international destinations in Bermuda and Mexico. It listed places for food, lodging, and gas stations. Shortly after developing the businesses, African Americans began venturing into the automobile industry. While automobiles made it easier for African Americans to be independently mobile, they still faced difficulties. Black travelers often carry buckets or portable toilets in the trunks of their cars because of discrimination. Also, to avoid trouble on long trips, they would even pack their own lunches in gas containers. Under this dilemma, Mr. Green would ask readers to provide information on the Negro motor conditions, scenic wonders in their travels, places visit of interest, and short stories on one's motoring experiences. He offered a reward of $1 for each accepted account, which he later increased to $5 by 1941. The Green Book had a motto displayed on the front cover, urging black travelers, and I quote, "Carry your Green Book with you. You may need it." Although the Green Book was suspended during World War II, it resumed in 1946. By the start of the 1960s, the market for the book was beginning to erode, mainly due to the civil rights activism and the passing of the Civil Rights Act of the 1964. The middle-class blacks pushed more for integration, causing black-owned motels to lose consumers and eventually close. In 1963, the Green Book acknowledged this movement, but continued the need. In 1966, the last edition to be published was after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, effectively becoming obsolete by outlawing racial discrimination and public accommodation. Mr. Green's legacy and contribution lives on.